out their dog has cancer, radiotherapy costing over €20,000, right? But and then I was saying, like, obviously, and I assumed there was, like, there'd be health insurance for your animals, but Elaine was in touch. He says, I have a Labrador, I have pet insurance through Allianz, approximately €35 a month. There you go.
Big money too, though, isn't it?
It is, but you see,
the bills are huge.
Your animal is like, do you know your pet is?
I can
be your best friend.
understand it, but I can't relate to it as such. If you know what I mean.
But see, if you had a dog and your dog was your best friend and it was part of your family, do you know you might think a wee bit different?
I can't see myself being in that situation, but I certainly understand it. Definitely.
Imagine,
because some people. Especially, you know, if you live alone or something like that, the loss of a pet is the exact same as a
of course,
as a bereavement, if not worse at times, because of the what's that phraseology they use in terms of love? Unconditional. Pets love's unconditional, right? It's not often the same with humans. Yeah. Okay. Any other cheery news?
No, that's it. Come here. How was Dancing with the Stars last night?
I don't know. How was it for you?
I didn't watch it.
Why?
Because I was getting ready for bed.
You've changed your story. You said earlier on that you were in bed.
Me and you had the big tobacco.
What time does Dancing with Stars start?
How your tongue? What? I didn't know. I assumed
you should never mislead your listeners.
Stop
I always
now.
try and be very honest.
Stop it. Behave yourself there. Now you came in big. He says you're misleading the listeners, the people listening to you. He says, "What time did you go to bed? Did you go to bed? You came in full force to me during that song. You're all I have. What time did you go to bed last night?" I says, "Well, I was getting ready we get ready for bed about probably around 7 o'clock or so.
Yes,
because bedtime routine and stuff."
Understood. Yeah, I'm big on the routine.
Right, and you said to me, "What time's that program?" You said you didn't watch the program because you're in bed. I said, "Well, I was getting ready for bed."
No.
You just can't hop into bed at 8 o'clock.
Said to your listeners, he says,
"Stop
I was
it.
in bed."
Get away with you.
A fib.
What do you got on your program today? Big stuff. Go on.
Hey, anyway, what time do they announce the winners at, or? Did you watch any of that show I recommended to you last night?
I did.
Were you watching it last night?
No. But the other night.
So what time was the last time you watched telly last night? And be honest.
TV. I jumped into a bit of the news, I think.
No,
the two boys were on the couch, right? And says, if I put on the news now at 6 o'clock.
Time? 6?
It wasn't after 6. It was probably after 6 because you can watch the news on repeat and stuff. But it says, if I watch this news now, the boys are going to be zoned into TV. So it was kind of winding down for bedtime, you see.
So you wind the boys down with the news?
No, but I didn't have the news on. I didn't turn it on. They were in.
All right, kids. Happy dreams. Venezuela, Cuba.
Look,
have a lovely night's sleep.
Don't you be laughing in there.
What happens is you've got yourself into a web of lies. You don't watch Dancing with the Stars, and you never will. Just admit that, and then all of this goes away.
No, I'm not.
See you soon then.
Look, hey, behave yourself. Good luck.
9 o'clock, a minute past 9. Let's get a news update. It's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. EU Commissioner Michael McGrath is being asked to urgently intervene today in a procedural row that could see the European Parliament sidestepped in attempts to ratify the Mercosur trade deal. Midlands North West MEP Kieran Malooly says Commission President Ursula von der Leyen may attempt to proceed with the implementation of the EU-Mercosur deal before democratic ratification by Parliament. He says to ignore the procedures established under European treaties would be dangerous, highly irresponsible and hugely damaging to the relationship between European citizens and the Commission. Mr. Malooly says other areas of the deal should proceed, with meat exports excluded.
We are in favour of trade and exporting. I think we should move forward by suspending that element of the trade agreement. Suspend the sale of all meat from South America.
Residents in Derry are being asked to be on their guard against home heating oil thieves. It's after a number of incidents in the Bogside last week. People are being encouraged to report any suspicious activity. The price of a second-hand three-bedroom semi in County Donegal rose to €207,500 last year, up 15.3% from the €180,000 figure at the end of 2024. That's according to a national survey by Real Estate Alliance. Across the county, the average time taken to sell rose to 5 weeks in the last 3 months of the year, according to its quarterly report. The survey shows across Donegal in that quarter, 33% of purchasers were first-time buyers. A total of 18% of sales in the county were attributed to landlords leaving the market. Donegal County Council is encouraging people to recycle any natural Christmas trees. The free service is currently running until Saturday, January 24th. The council is asking people to ensure their trees are real. All decorations are removed to facilitate the trees being used in a special environmental protection scheme. Alex Rowley has more.
As part of a joint initiative by the council and the Lochs Agency, natural trees which have been recycled in Donegal are repurposed to stabilise riverbanks, reduce erosion and create habitats for wildlife. Trees from last year's pilot scheme are already being used as green engineering along the banks of the River Cummerk in Donegal. Lorraine Arbuckle, Climate Action Coordinator at Donegal County Council, says after the success of last year's scheme, this is another opportunity for residents to give back to nature, as recycling trees responsibly is not only good for the environment but also directly benefits local ecosystems. By recycling their natural Christmas trees, she says people are helping to protect our rivers, strengthen biodiversity and support climate resilience in Donegal.
Recycling services running across 16 points in Donegal. They can be found by checking highlandradio.com. And Jessie Buckley has been named Best Actress in the movie drama category at the Golden Globes. The Kerry native won the award for her role in Hamlet, portraying the wife of William Shakespeare alongside Paul Mescal. The film adaptation of the Maggie O'Farrell novel tells the story of Shakespeare and his wife, Agnes Hathaway. Jessie Buckley told the ceremony it's a very British story told by an international production team.
It was such an extraordinary set to be part of because, we were telling the story of probably the most famous Brit that ever lived, and we had a Chinese director, a lot of Irish, a mostly Polish crew, and beside our British family.
Well, the forecast got showers merging into longer spells of rain at times, occasional sunny intervals. Top temperatures today 7 to 10 degrees Celsius with moderate to fresh southwesterly winds, decreasing light to moderate this evening. That's Highland Radio News. Back with more at 10 o'clock.
Get ready to expect more for less with our BYD 261 offers. You can expect monthly payments as low as €189. Visit your local BYD showroom today. Price based on a BYD Dolphin Surf Boost with RRP of €22,230. Purchased via PCP on 3.5% APR. 35% deposit required. 37-month term. Available until 31st of 3rd, 26. Lending criteria conditions apply. Bank of Ireland Trading is Bank of Ireland Finance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The Talk of the Northwest. The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
Yes, indeed. Good morning. You're very welcome along to the programme. It's 5 minutes past 9 on this Monday, the 12th of January, 2026. How are you all keeping? I really do hope you're very well indeed. And I hope you had a nice weekend. I didn't really do anything at all. And that was very nice in and of itself. Not everyone has that opportunity, of course. Lots of you work at the weekends. We're grateful to you for listening this morning. And you can watch the show if you wish as well. You can hop on to our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland, and watch across your mobile devices or in your smart TV or your Fire Stick. We're also on Facebook and on the X platform as well. Right, let's see what's going on the front of and inside the papers today. We'll start with the Derry People Donegal News. And Letterkenny University Hospital has reported significant strain on its emergency department in recent days following an overwhelming surge of patient presentations. On Thursday, January 8th, there were 162 patient presentations, with 44 arriving by ambulance. A high portion of these patients presented after 6 p.m, leading to a backlog in ambulance offloading. At one point, the hospital was managing 12 ambulances awaiting to offload patients, 4 of which were still waiting to be offloaded after midnight. Now, of course, there's a number of complications there, not least the plight of the person on that ambulance and their support network, but also the fact that these ambulances then are being tied up at Letterkenny University Hospital. Let's hope this is a winter surge or something and doesn't become a norm. We hope it wouldn't anyway. The Derry News this morning: Derry City and Strabane District Council members say more must be done at a council level to tackle violence against women and girls. Members of January's Governance and Strategic Planning Committee were presented with an update report on a council-led action plan for ending violence against women and girls, which highlighted a number of council-led initiatives such as a town hall public meeting hosted by Mayor Rory McHugh, awareness-raising events in the Ballyarnit DEA, and Real Talk, a programme in the Fullside DEA aimed at young men and discussing topics including consent and also boundaries. On to the Nationals now. Let's start with the Irish Independent. And thousands of drivers without insurance are being caught and having their vehicles seized each month as Gardaí tap into an insurance database from the roadside. And I'm reading this, because, of course, you know, the less uninsured drivers on the road, the better. But also to that, there are people that take the risk. And the way things are now, obviously you never should. But if you do, you're likely to get caught because Garda have number plate recognition software that's updated at midnight. So in other words, even if you cancelled your policy at 11:30 the night before and still have the disc, it can scan your number plate and see that you're not insured. So the days of getting away with that, not that was ever right, but the days of getting away from that are somewhat, are over. So more than 16,000 uninsured vehicles were seized in the first 10 months of last year following the rollout of a new roadside insurance detection system. Since Gardaí gained instant access to insurance data during roadside checks, an average of 1,615 vehicles per month have been seized. I'm doing the insurance on my car at the moment, and I was with one of these, not with one of these companies, but I got my insurance last year with one of these companies that scans 15 insurers or 12 insurers or what have you and comes back with your best quote. And they did that. I got an email there Thursday or something, and they said, we scanned all of the insurers and we've come back with your best quote, €790, I believe the insurance was, which feels high, right? So I clicked into the email and I could see that it was the lowest that they happened to find. Some was up at around 1,300, and I was said, right, okay, listen, it's a hit. I'm talking about this all of the time. Insurance prices are going up. It is what it is. It hasn't really changed significantly from last year. But then I says, no, I'm tight. I don't have that much money. I need to dig into this a little bit further. And I went through another few insurance companies. €465 was the quote that I got in the end, which is a saving of just shy of €300. So my point being, not being preachy, just maybe it's useful to you, if you are with one of these organisations that scans the insurance market for you, take the time and double check yourself, because as I say, I don't think any of us have €300 to throw away. And that will cover the tax as well, really, effectively, a portion of the tax. So the best quote from one of these scrapers, effectively, 760 or 735. And I eventually got a quote then for 475, something along those lines. Now, obviously, what you get with your insurance, roadside breakdown, step back protection, all that kind of stuff, that costs money. But I've made some decisions in that regard and saved just shy of £300. So the savings are still out there. So don't just rely, even if you are with a company that's checking numerous. There's a couple of them that do it with different insurance companies. There's some insurance companies that aren't on those comparison websites. So just check around. As I say, that's €300 in my pocket. People granted refugee status will have to wait for 3 years before bringing relatives, including spouses and children, to Ireland under a planned tightening of family reunification rules. This is in the Irish Times. Now, I wasn't really sure about how all of this works and at what point you can sort of bring family members over, but often what we do see is that maybe the majority of those arriving here are male, so maybe they're coming over to do the groundwork, to get settled, and then bring their families over. That must be part of it. Tomorrow, Minister for Justice Jim O'Callaghan will brief the Cabinet on a new international protection bill which will overhaul the state's asylum system and introduce, in advance of European Union wide rules due to come into force in June. Last November, the government signalled it would tighten rules around family reunification for people with refugee status, restricting the ability to bring relatives into the state if refugees are not financially self-sufficient, if they've been in receipt of some social welfare payments, or if they owe a debt to the state. So we'll hear more about that, I'm sure, after the Cabinet meeting. A story we may touch on a little later on. Former Finance Minister Paschal Donohoe is now facing calls to appear before the Oireachtas Finance Committee to answer questions about state funding he provided to the World Bank. This is in the Irish Daily Mail. When you hear this, it'll stink to high heavens. What does it mean? We don't know, of course. I presume that's why he's being called. There are effectively calls that he might speak to an Oireachtas committee. So I'll read on. On Saturday, the Irish Daily Mail revealed Mr Donohoe provided an extra €10 million in funding to the World Bank beyond what it had requested. So it set a figure. We gave it, through the offices of Paschal Donohoe, an extra €10 million. Documents show the World Bank recommended a contribution of 131.4 million from Ireland from 25 to 28. But Mr. Donoghue opted to provide 141.4 million on April 24th, 2025. This despite his own department officials recommending significantly less. And then Mr. Donoghue resigned as finance minister 7 months later, and in November last year he took up a job at the World Bank and is now facing calls from the opposition to appear before the Oireachtas Finance Committee. So I'm not drawing any inference from this, okay? The World Bank sought a certain amount of money, 131.4 million. Mr. Donoghue opted to give them an extra 10 million, 141.4 million. His own department officials recommended against that. He then gave up his job and took up a job with the World Bank. And some people in politics believe that requires a little bit of scrutiny. I don't know what you think. The Star tells us that the world was on high alert last night after Iran threatened immediate revenge attacks on the US if Donald Trump stepped in to interfere with their latest protests. Chaotic scenes broke out in the capital, Tehran, and cities across the country, with reports that more than 500 people have been killed and 10,000 arrested. Trump said the US stands ready to help as Iran is looking for freedom. Okay, so obviously this is an opportunity for he to go in there. Since this was published, I believe the Iran leadership have contacted the United States to say that they want to have a chat, maybe in a way to resolve it. Now, finally, I'm just wondering what you think out there, especially if you are the parent of a neurodivergent child, because there is a new doll that's been released by Barbie, and it's been described as the first autistic Barbie. So I'm not sure if this is good because it's more visible and it's more relatable to certain children, or if it's stereotyping. I don't know. I'll read it, but I want to know what you guys think. What's the take on this? So a row was blown up over the launch of the first autistic Barbie, and it comes with noise-cancelling headphones and fidget spinners. The $16.99 doll, designed by people with autism, is part of an effort by makers Mattel to make children feel more included. Her unique features include eyes that gaze slightly to the side, representing a dislike of direct eye contact. They do gaze very slightly, though. The headphones represent how the devices can reduce sensory overload by blocking out background noise, while the fidget spinner can reduce stress and improve focus. She also has elbow and wrist articulation, enabling hand gestures that some people use to process sensory information or express excitement. So if you are the child of a neurodivergent child, would you give this doll to them? Again, I don't really have I have a great understanding of this area. We cover it extensively, but in terms of this articulation of the elbows and hands, the slightly offset gaze, the headphones, the fidget spinners, like, is this seen as something that you could give to your child and it would say, okay, there's a toy that I can relate to? I'm not sure what the opposition is to it. There is some information further down. The autistic community have said many times online that this exact representation of an autistic Barbie would be a tragedy. So what do you think? The best people to determine what's right and wrong in this area certainly are parents and caregivers. Right, so 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000, or call us on 074 91 25,000. Here's a further reminder of those contact details. We want to hear from you.
The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio. Text WhatsApp 086 60 25,000. Call 074 91 25,000 or email comments at highlandradio.com.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountaintop Diner.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. New year, new wheels. Drive into 2026 with a low-rate car loan. Fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or visit today.
All children get sick, but you can try to plan ahead. Who can care for them at home? Have you got a thermometer? What about children's pain or fever medication? Visit mychild.ie for advice on pregnancy, baby and toddler health.
It's here, the new Opel Frontera. Join Manor Motors for the Frontera Test Drive event and discover the wow, the new family fun SUV from Opel. With big comfort, huge space and room for 7. Choose hybrid or electric and make every drive a new adventure. Get behind the wheel at Manor Motors, your Opel dealer. Now with 5 years unlimited warranty. The new Opel Frontera. Fun has found its family.
At Specsavers, we've got hearing devices that can stream music or movies. Ones that are good in crowds, rechargeable battery ones that are good at home, ones that are good in the great outdoors, ones that connect to phones, ones that fit in your ear, ones that fit over your ear, ones that fit in wherever you happen to be. We've even got ones in our advanced range that use AI to make speech sound clearer. And they're all available at great Specsavers prices. So book a free hearing check today. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordable and luxury combine.
Genesis Clinic Gidor, introducing exosome therapy, an advanced regenerative treatment targeting rosacea, pigmentation, acne and hair loss. Genesis also offer secret RF microneedling to tighten and lift the skin, PDO thread lifts and skin boosters for facial contouring and lifting jowls, the neck, cheeks and eyebrows, plus dermal fillers and laser treatments for acne, rosacea and all skin conditions. Genesis Clinic Gidor. Call 07495 32575.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
The time now is 20 minutes past 9. I'm joined by Geraldine, and this is in the context of residents of Church Court in Strabane, which is owned by Woven Housing, have said that despite it being ongoing for almost 2 years, no permanent solution has been found to an ongoing problem with rats in the area. And apologies if you've just eaten or if you don't like rats or you're having your breakfast, but the reality is this is a lived reality for residents. Geraldine, it sounds absolutely horrendous.
It really is, to be honest.
What's day-to-day life like? How do these rats sort of present themselves, or how often are they seen, or what's the story?
Well, they're seen all the time around the back gardens and around the front. It's like a playground around the front, and they're climbing up and down the walls. To be honest, they look like just a pile of Spider-Man running around the place.
So is it like they've become accustomed to this residential setting and feel like they have the run of the place?
Yes, very much so, yeah.
And are they external? They run around the houses. I mean, that in itself is scary enough. Are they going into houses? Can you hear them running up and down the walls, rattling around in the roofs?
So far, no, they haven't come into the house just yet. They're roaming around the back gardens and around the front area.
Mm. And what triggered this, do you think? Because it's been happening for 2 years. Is it that they just nested locally or however they commune? Or what happened, do you think, Geraldine, that sparked this?
Well, to be honest, I think it's coming from the wall that my next door neighbour beside me, they've got a big wall that's up. And it seems to be like they're invested all in there because there's a big yard up above that's got like wood, and the wood itself, it's like it's generating its own heat, and there's steam flying out of it.
Right.
So there have been people out to put stuff into the walls, but it seems to be getting worse instead of better.
So, in other words, people are trying to poison them or what have you, but it's not had any positive impact to get rid of the population.
Yes, that's right.
So, what do residents think needs to be done, Geraldine?
They need to get to the end of the problem and try and get rid of them, because we're terrified to go out. We're terrified to let our kids out. Like we had the snow weather, and we just couldn't let them out to go and play in the snow, and we had to get rid of toys because they're eating at it. We're bound in the house. We just can't go out.
So describe to me again what it's like if you go into your backyard. Are you guaranteed to see a rat, or what is it like in your backyard on your average day?
Well, normally you would go out, and then about 5-10 minutes later, you'll just see a rat just flying past you, on the ground or up on the walls.
All right, okay, that's
which is crazy.
Yeah, that's horrible. Do you think it's a local authority issue? Is this Derry and Strabane District Council, the housing, whomever owns the housing? What do you think? Who has responsibility, or is anyone taking responsibility?
To be honest, I'm not too sure, because I've reported it myself and I've been told that they would get back to me, and no one's got back to me. My neighbours as well, they have called numerous of times. I've been in here myself for about 2-3 years now, and this has been going on before I came in here as well. And nothing seems to be done, and it doesn't seem to be clearing up. It seems to be getting far worse.
Yeah.
And it's awful, to be honest.
No, it sounds horrible. And these animals have, they're not clean either. So it's the visuals, it's the noise, it's the threat to children. And are pets a problem? Are they having any problems interacting with pets?
What do you mean, sorry?
Dogs, cats, I don't know. Are the rats a problem for any domestic animals, or is that not really part of the issue?
I'm not too sure. Myself, I have a cat, but she's always indoors.
I get you. Yeah, okay.
So she doesn't go out, out and about. But to be honest, the size of the rats that I've seen myself, I think they would take a cat out.
Wow, horrible. Okay, Geraldine, listen, thank you for that. We'll make contact to see if we can get information on it. They are. It's the whole notion of it is, I don't like mice, but I'm looking at some of the video footage here, and they just running around like they own the place. If you live in that area as well, and you've got an issue with the rats, let us know. 00353 8660 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number there. Now, just trying to get used to sort of introducing. I didn't read enough comments last week, actually, is what I'm going to say, right? So we have dozens and dozens and dozens of you that commented in, and just as I was getting used to things, I wasn't allowing enough time for that, which I will going forward, because it's very, very important. So I just want to recognise that and put my hands up and say that I didn't get to as many comments as I should have. I did on Thursday and Friday, but on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was just a little bit difficult. Hi, Greg. I'm retired now, and I'd like to be able to fish 20 or 25 lobster pots in my older age, just like my father and his father before him. That's the way it's always been. And why can't you, though? Have you looked into it? Is it something that you're not allowed to do? A caller says, the Taoiseach is great at what he's doing. That has to be the joke of the year. Yes, he's great at giving millions to other countries, none to the Irish. It's all taxes. About taxes on taxes. What a statement to come out with. Well, I said that, right? And I said it tongue-in-cheek because Micheál Martin was getting a bit of a hammering during the Friday panel, right? So, but I also said there are some that would argue that we are a very wealthy country under his watch. When someone says that Australia is a very expensive place to live, this is from Charlie on Facebook, it must be really bad, but look at Ireland, the most expensive petrol diesel in Europe. The electricity cost is going through the roof. 250,000 homes can't pay the bills. Food prices are soaring, and house prices and rentals are beyond young people's incomes. The banks are controlling who stays and who emigrates. Yeah, I've seen some comparisons. I've seen some comparisons with the cost of living in Australia versus here, and a lot of the stuff is comparable. Some of the stuff is cheaper here, but there's a lot of stuff you have to factor in too about, the quality of life, your happiness. Happiness is something that you can't put a figure on per se. And some people are more happy. Obviously, we discussed the Mercosur deal extensively last week because of its significance. And there was a big protest in Athlone at the weekend. Many people from Donegal down at it. This caller says the Mercosur deal, if passed, will also affect a lot of non-farming people, as a lot of the produce that would be imported is loaded with untraceable antibiotics and possibly could contribute to antibiotic resistance in humans. That is what the experts say. What Europe is saying is trust our systems, trust our monitoring. Not a lot of people are prepared to do that. We were talking, obviously, as well extensively about emigration. A caller says, yes, it is a lost generation gone from Ireland, respected more in other countries and maybe dearer, but more a bang for your buck there. And then you had Minister Noonan saying it was a lifestyle choice, same minister responsible for the sad passing of Breed McCole in the infected blood scandal. I remember when TV3 back then showed the Irish that emigrated as one family bid farewell as one another, or to one another after another of their left. So their 4 sons had left and then made the ultimate sacrifice. They moved over themselves, and many more will go as well. Yes, that thing, and it's been argued here in this country at the time of the recession as well, or in this county, that it's a lifestyle choice. Yes, it is. Some people will always seek to travel, to go abroad, to improve their life. But it's about whether or not it's a decision or a decision that's being made for you, and that's wherein lies the difference. If you got 20 teenagers who just left college, or 20 people in their 20s, over all generations, I don't know what the percentage of them that would emigrate, but there would always be a percentage, the people that want to go and spread the wings and experience different things. But just because that percentage quadruples, you can't still say it's a choice, because the other 3/4 or the other, multiplication of that are saying, there's nothing here for me. I have to go. I have to go because it's the only way I can progress my life. And it's incredibly, incredibly sad to see. Right, we'll be back with our next guest in just a couple of moments.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Big plans, big dreams. Home improvement loans, borrow up to €80,000. Visit letterkennycu.ie today.
I was in pain with my right hip. I googled hospitals in Belfast and Kingsbridge came up.
Public patients in the Republic of Ireland can get rapid access to cross-border surgeries at Kingsbridge private hospitals in Belfast and Derry, with medical costs reimbursed by the HSE. You don't need to be on a waiting list to access treatment at Kingsbridge. Find out more at kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border. Kingsbridge, your fast track to 5-star care. Terms and conditions apply.
Transform your living room with a luxurious, bespoke feature wall from Sprat Fireplaces, Newmills, Letterkenny. Our complete installations include built-in storage, electric fires, floating shelves, and stunning finishes in stone, porcelain, or marble. Each feature wall is designed and built in-house by our expert carpentry and stonemasonry teams. No fuss, just flawless feature walls. Call 074 91 24144 or visit spratfireplaces.ie. Sprat Fireplaces, experts in heating, design, and detail.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, we would like to turn your house into a home this year. This January sale, with offers across both our Moville store and our Bridgend store, we offer a free delivery service to the whole of the Northwest, and we won't be beaten on price. Both stores have easy parking, so for quality furniture and flooring at a great price, call into Braden's Furniture, Moville or Bridgend now.
If you lose a partner, practical help can make a difference. The bereaved partner's contributory pension now includes qualified cohabitants. If your cohabiting partner died before July 21st, 2025, payments may be backdated to January 22nd, 2024, or their date of death, whichever is later, but you must apply on or before January 21st, 2026. To learn more, visit gov.ie/BPCP, a Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
SSE Electricity brings a different kind of energy. So you can bring your "we're going to enjoy this hike even if it kills us" energy. Or your "how hard can this DIY thing really be" energy. Even your fourth coffee has just kicked in energy. Whatever energy you bring to the world, SSE Electricity brings a cleaner, a greener energy. SSE Electricity, a different kind of energy.
A caller says, Greg, when is something going to be done about the water issues in Inishowen? We had a terrible time over Christmas and woke up to another one, burst main in Dumfries. Do the citizens of Inishowen not count? Are we not also taxpayers putting up with this ridiculous care of one of the most fundamental rights, that is of water. I don't know what's going on, and I think it's time maybe we, or even maybe I, got a true understanding of the extent of the problem, what Irish Water is proposing to do, how long it might take to do it, because it seems to be constant, and no one should have to live their life like that, not having a even reliable water system. Michael joins me now, Michael Kavanagh of Cavan Key Fishing. Michael, good morning to you. Thanks for your time today.
Good morning, Greg. Happy New Year. And I see this year we have two things in common. We go to the same barber and we both have had cuts.
Okay. The other thing, I'm not wearing my glasses, but I have a pair of glasses now. I mean, we're going to be twins at this stage. Kavanagh, sorry, Michael. Right, okay, so you were listening to our conversation about fishing and, the decimation really of the industry, as many people are describing it here. And of course, you've got an insight into that, Michael.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, I was driving at the time, and you mentioned that the fishing and farming was practically finished in Ireland. But the EU and consecutive Irish governments have decimated coastal communities.
And just to clarify that...
A lot of it is by pandering. The EU has been pandering to Norway, Faroes and Iceland for years.
Yes, and I want to dig into that with you a bit more, Michael, but just to clarify those comments, I don't believe it's naturally happened, by the way. I think we've been legislated and regulated out of fishing and farming in this country. But anyway, how did we get here? Pandering to countries that aren't even in the EU. Is that the point you were going to make, Michael?
Yeah, Norway, Faroes, Iceland. These people set their own autonomous quotas. Like Norway in the past 5 years have caught 1 million tonnes more mackerel than they should have caught. And as you well know, the boats in Killybegs are tied up for 8 months of the year. And if the mackerel science is anything like the boarfish science, that's totally off the wall. Definitely there's needs for cuts in the mackerel to sustain a fishery for the future, for those who are going to be involved in it. I have 2 sons involved in it. We have a vessel called the Father McKee. And in 2007, myself and Brendan Gill, who owns a vessel called the Brendellan, we've been pair trawling together for over 40 years. We established a new fishery called boarfish. And for 4 years, we fished away quite successfully at it and established a market for it in Faroes. And then in 2011, the EU introduced a quota on it. And then people who had never fished it all wanted a share of it, so it was divided. Ireland wouldn't have a quota had it not been for us. As it stands at the moment, Ireland has 70% of the TAC. And in 2024, the Marine Institute had estimated that there was a biomass of 180,000 tonnes. And in 2025, they said that there was 140,000 tonnes less. Where did they go? Because the whole quota, including biocatch, would have been probably around 45,000 tonne. And the time we did the survey, they took their own equipment on board, and because ours wouldn't have been calibrated, and they said it wasn't just be successful. And they worked out grids, and if they went up one line and they saw no fish, and then they moved 2 miles parallel, and they got 10 tonnes. So 10 times nothing is nothing. And if that's the way they're still doing it, it's totally off the wall. And one evening, just coming into dark, I said, there's boarfish here. And they said, well, our equipment doesn't see it. I said, well, I can see it. And I'm going to prove to you now that it's there. And I'm going to shoot the nets. And we shot off our net. We towed for 15 minutes and hauled for 5 tonne of fish that weren't there.
Wow.
You know, if that's the way that the science has been done, is it any wonder that we're in the state that we're in?
Yes, but it's why does the science always work against us, though? You see, that would make me have a distrust of it.
We all have a distrust of it if that's the way it's been done, you know, and something needs to change, because we got an increase in 2025. We expected an increase in 2026, and instead it's been decreased.
So why do you think that happens? Do you think it is bad science, or do you believe that the science is being manipulated?
Oh, I think it's bad science. It's
Right.
just the way they work the grids. You know, if when we were doing the survey, if they saw nothing on their equipment and we could see it on the sonar, and I pointed that out several times, that didn't count because it wasn't part of the grid. I mean, that's no way to conduct.
Do you think then that means, say, for instance, the science on mackerel couldn't be trusted?
Well, I have no proof of that because I'm not sure. I've never taken part in the mackerel survey, so I don't know what way they did it.
Yeah, but you got.
But there's an Icelandic scientist now disagreeing with the science that has been put forward. So,
can I just go back to the boarfish? There was a boarfish quota for other countries. Was it you and your partner who eked out some of this for Ireland, or did you effectively establish this, the interest in boarfish? Sorry, that interested me, Michael.
Well, we established it because at that time there wasn't a lot of layoff, and some boats had detected bits of boarfish. And at that time there was only 2 areas where we could get them.
Mm-hmm.
And when some vessels, particularly in Denmark and one in the UK, saw that we were being very successful and they were watching where we were going, and then they got in on the act. But Ireland has the biggest share of the TAC because of our track record. And had it not been for the fact that we had established it and put a lot of effort into it, spent a lot of money on it, the first years we were landing it, I developed a piece of equipment for crushing the fish as we discharged them, and I put a patent on it. And we went to Denmark with it, but water that they should have put back into the vessel, they let it run into the harbour, and there was fish fat all over the harbour, so they didn't want us back. And it took them a long time to get the fish out of the vessel. We were in the North Sea going back to the south of Ireland to catch more, and I got a phone call, great product, but do us a favour, don't come back. So then I contacted Faroes and asked them if they'd be interested, and we established a market in Faroes for it then. And there wasn't much money for it then, but it was a case of having to do something. We had a vessel that was relatively new.
Well, what is the boarfish used for?
It's used for fish meal.
Okay.
And because of the colour of the fat, it's very good for the salmon salmon farms.
Well, okay.
Because the oil is a kind of a pink colour.
Where do we go from here, though, then, in terms of the fishing industry and the science? I mean, obviously, listen, it's clear that you're an expert in the area of the boar fisheries, but I suppose this conversation was triggered by my comment that, is fishing and farming in this country now sunset industries, really, for right or wrong, given the age demographic and profile of both. What is the future? What needs to happen next, Michael, drawing on your generations and years of experience?
Well, we need to get, at the moment, we appear to have a Minister for Fisheries who has an interest and was fighting our corner in Europe, but sadly, when the rest of Europe is against you, it's very difficult. Our government and civil servants need to work with us and not against us. Because for Brexit, Michel Barnier and the KFO at the time established a European alliance where we could all get together and let's fight the UK. But it turned out Michel Barnier was fighting for his own people, and we were left with nothing. And Simon Coveney I don't think he did us any favours either, and he's out of politics now. But we need support from our politicians.
Unless there is a major change, where do you see the fishing industry and your son's role in it, if you wanted to go down that route? Where do you see the fishing industry for Ireland in a decade, for an example, if things don't change dramatically?
Well, if it keeps going downhill the way it's going at the moment, there won't be one. And it's very sad because like the vessel we have now, I've never had a vessel of this age. She'll be 22 years old now this August. Granted, we spend a lot of money on her every year, but to keep a vessel lying at the quay, you've got to keep an engine running.
Yeah,
you've got to insure it. You've got to renew all your life-saving equipment and firefighting equipment every year. Every 2 years we go to dry dock, which we went in 2024. We have to go this year again, and that takes in excess of $500,000.
Wow! Yeah,
every 2 years.
And the thing is, if we're not using or fishing in our waters because we've been regulated out of it, it doesn't mean that next thing you know, the seas are full of fish. It just means that our share goes to other countries in Europe and outside of Europe as well. It's crazy, isn't it, that we could end up be sitting ashore, what with these vessels rusting because they're not being used anymore, but still watching these mega ships and not so mega ships plundering our seas. It's crazy.
Well, that's already happening, and the like of the vessels from Iceland and Faroes and Norway, they don't have an issue over horsepower or tonnage. They could build a vessel the size of the Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Whereas within the EU, you have restraints on your kilowatts and your tonnage.
Doesn't make sense.
They can catch more fish in our waters than we can.
Yeah, but the problem is there's other countries in Europe that are favourable to the likes of the Faroe Islands and others for different industrial reasons. But it's us that are picking up it's us that have to give up, not just business, but I think part of our culture as well and part of our history. It's us that have to give it up because of the vested interests of bigger countries in the EU that should be looking out for us, but they're looking out for themselves and their relationships with the Faroes, etc.
Yeah, well, there's one company in Holland, Parlevied, a man called Dick Parlevied would be the big boss of it. And he has vessels registered in all over Europe, including Faroes and Greenland. So it doesn't really matter to them what it's where the cuts are, because they'll get their share if there's increase somewhere else.
They've hedged their bets.
Theirs is a €1 billion industry. Ours is small family businesses. Like I have, there's 12 of us in the company. There's 9 of a crew on board the Fallamackie, and they're currently in Denmark as of yesterday forenoon with boarfish because of the price. And that's with boarfish that apparently don't exist. And when the groundfish survey was done last year, the Marine Institute had equated that there was an increase of boarfish to the whitefish, but they don't exist. So if they're showing an increase in one place and decreasing in another, surely there's something badly wrong.
Of course, but we all know what's going on. Listen, thank you for your insight and your years of experience. Thank you so much. Michael Kavanagh there of Kavanagh Quay Fishing, just with a further insight into the realities. A caller says, no good Ireland cutting quotas if the rest of Europe and countries that are not doing the same. It's the same with climate change. Squeeze the ones who try and the bigger polluters get off scot-free, seemingly. Thank you. Just to let you know on the roads there, you might want to let listeners know to expect delays on the Derry Road. Emergency Services is dealing with an overturned lorry between Moville and Redcastle. On the issue of water in Inishowen, good luck getting an answer from Uisce Éireann that isn't automated or an AI machine. They're all about profits, so won't spend the money in infrastructure. They are willfully allowing sewage flow into rivers and the sea, which is illegal, and have set dates to rectify the pollution years away. And the majority of these pollution incidents in Ireland are in Donegal, but tried to get a human from the company to discuss it. On rats in Strabane, the remedy rats, it would be worth a trip to Tory Island and get some Tory clay from the Duggan family. Spread the clay around the garden, the rats will disappear. Something in the Tory clay that the rats don't like. There are no rats on Tory Island, but I mean, once you've got rats off the island, they're not going to parachute in either. Is that a myth? I'm not in any way being disrespectful, but I'll tell you, if anyone wants to make a documentary, go and get some of this Tory clay and bring it to Strabane and see if it works. You'd have an award-winning documentary if it did. That lady needs a Jack Russell dog or cats. Yep, this isn't one rat. I know what you're saying, but this is a army of rats. On finance, why are we giving away money to the World Bank, the richest bank in the world? Any wonder we're living in a crippled economy? Well, there's to and fro in we have a place in the world, and there is a cost to that as well. We benefit, we give out. I know what you're saying, but no man is an island and no country is an island either. So there is some stuff that needs to be done. But I've never seen a situation where people give an extra 10 million. You know, the World Bank asking for 141 and we say, no. Here's 151. Anyway, any jobs going?
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Take control of your finances with a debt consolidation loan today. Call 074 910 2126. Apply online through our app or in office.
Your vaccines give your immune system the top-up it needs to help protect you from serious illness. A flu vaccine is recommended if you're 60 or over, a healthcare worker, pregnant, or have a long-term health condition. A COVID-19 vaccine is also recommended if you're 60 or over or have a long-term health condition. Add a vaccine to your to-do list and help protect you and your family in the months ahead. Talk to a participating GP or pharmacist or visit hsc.ie for more. From the HSC.
True luxury is best experienced firsthand. So, experience it for yourself today at Lexus Letterkenny. From the thrilling NX to the all-electric RZ, both available with a €2,000 bonus once registered before January 31st. Enjoy everyday extraordinary with the compact LBX or the stylish UX, with flexible payment options available across the range. Luxury begins with L at Lexus Letterkenny Port Road. Lexus. Experience amazing. Terms and conditions apply.
My car, my rules. My laughing with friends place, or alone with my thoughts place. My private karaoke room. My mobile wardrobe. My pink fluffy slippers. My car is my me place.
With AXA Car Insurance, you can protect the place where you can truly be yourself. And with accident forgiveness as standard, you won't lose your full no-claims discount if you have an accident. Get a quote online or call into your local branch. AXA. Know you can. Policy terms and conditions apply. Accident forgiveness is step back. No claims discount protection for customers with 4 or more years. No claims discount. AXA Insurance Stack is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €2,200 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Are you ready to save big? The McElhenney's winter sale is here with up to 50% off your favourite designer brands. Shop in store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So, scattered showers today merging into longer spells of rain at times with occasional sunny intervals. Highest temperatures 7 to 10 degrees. Gary Glennon is manager of Letterkenny Youth and Family Resources and he joins me on the programme now. Gary, good morning to you and thank you so much for your time.
Morning, Greg. Sorry, Greg, just a quick correction there. It's Local Youth and Family Service. It's Life's. I know it was reported wrong there.
That's okay. No problem. That's that we'll get that right too. So Local Youth and Family Services, aka LYFS. Right. So you stuck out a notice saying deeply shocked and saddened that LYFS was issued with an ultimatum when being offered a sizable financial donation, I understand in the hundreds, requiring that we had to guarantee it would go to Irish families only. Right, why did this give you pause for thought, Gary?
Well, I just think we're actually disgusted, Greg. You know, that this would be a condition that we put on any donation to support families. And regardless of who that family is, you know, they're going to need the support. You know, we can be honest with ourselves, and who can we be honest with? And in our work, you know, honesty is the forefront of what we do. And that trust that people have in us as an organisation, you know, we're definitely going to jeopardise that for the sake of a few £100 from someone who has other reasons for their donation.
Is it clearly discrimination to you? Is it not possible that this person believes that maybe certain sections of society get more supports than Ireland and they're not racist, they're not against others, but they just feel that they want to make sure that their money helps Irish families? And it's awkward for me because I'm trying to sort of, you know, put a different position here. But
I understand. I know it's a difficult situation we're all in, Greg, when it comes to situations like this. But I don't know what the person's thinking. And the other thing is, we'll never know, because we probably won't engage with that person again unless they have a change in terms of what their approach is to making donations. Maybe they do think that, and maybe they don't think that. But the bottom line is, you know, poverty and hunger, it doesn't discriminate. So why should we?
Yeah. What kind of reaction have you had to this, Gary?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because
You
it
can
is a
imagine,
brave
Greg.
step, right? Because you could have
Yeah, look,
privately kept this to yourself. Well, you could have,
yeah,
but yeah,
but
go ahead.
this isn't brave, Greg. What's brave is people who are trying to look after their families. That's brave. In conditions, that's not becoming to human beings, never mind anything else. That's brave. Going without food for yourself to deprive your kids, that's brave. What we did's not brave. What we did was the right thing to do. We're not going to accept that. And why don't think anybody should accept that? And there has been comments, Greg, you've probably seen them. The people have said, why didn't you just take it and use it for Irish families only? Can you imagine, we have an open door service both in Letterkenny and Gweedore. Can you imagine a family come in, and they're not from this country, and they say, can get me some nappies or some baby formula and stuff, and we say, actually, we can't. And then somebody then who is, from an Irish, family come in and say, yeah, can I get it? Go, yes, you can. I mean, could I lie in my bed straight at night, knowing that I did that, regardless of, what the policy and procedures of any organisation might say. We just don't do those things. Everybody should be treated with dignity, respect, and equally.
And I think it is about time that some of this stuff was called out. There's a lot of stuff happening in broad daylight that perhaps would have been sort of said quietly in the past. So I suppose it's important to call it out when you see it, and that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Greg. There is, and look, we're in a precarious position. We're a funded agency. We're very fortunate to be funded under TUSLA. We're really privileged to be working with families who most need our support. But what we have to say is, and what we will say, and an opportunity to say this is to thanks to every single person who has come up and provided support to families, their fellow people. Providing, nappies, cots, Moses baskets, prams. There was a call out there last week from a young girl who gets €135 a week on social welfare. She's just going to have a baby, and she says, "Look, is there any support you can get?" We've been inundated with people coming saying, "Look, will that be any good? Will that be any good?" And why don't we just focus on that for a bit? Focus on the positive things that people are doing, and the people in Donegal should be really proud of themselves. What they have to offer, and we can talk about the volunteer and county and stuff like that there. Yeah, we've got all that there. This stuff that gets in the way of a few people who say, some people's getting treated better than others. Everybody should be treated equally. Let's focus on doing that.
Yeah, but what we're doing too, though, is really speaking to the majority of people in Donegal, the overwhelming majority, and that's evident in how things are supported without caveats. And I suppose too, as I said a little earlier on, if there is a minority that think this way, and I do believe it is a minority, rather than just accept it, call it out and not normalise it. So I think a lot of people will agree with what you've done. I just want to finish on the positive work that you do, and it is amazing what the local youth and family services do. How do people learn more about the services that you provide? Support you maybe, for an example, or contact you to see if you can offer any support. Just run us through that if you don't mind, Gary.
Maybe that is the Facebook page. Social media has such a powerful, I was going to say tool, maybe a weapon in some instances, for people. So I've contacted through the private message, as that young girl did last week, who soon to become a mother. Do that there. My mobile number I can pass to the office there. Absolutely give us a call and see what we can do. Greg, can I just go back to something you said there in terms of the messaging? Something that's quite simple, and I've asked for this, for actually the Minister of Justice. If the government just came out and told us that everybody's getting treated the way they are, we would know better. Because we've had so much rhetoric and so much myths about people coming in, seeking asylum, saying they get X, Y, and Z. I think it was most recent was they get the car service for free. I mean, that's absolute rubbish. Why can the government not just come out and tell us exactly what everybody gets, and then we know where we are?
Because it's not politically advantageous to do that at the moment.
You're right. It's not safe for them.
Yeah, okay. That shouldn't be the way it is, but that is the way it is. Gary, listen, thank you very much. LYFC, check them out, local youth and family services. And I'm so pleased that young person who you referenced reached out for help, because you wonder how long did they have the message box open before they typed in, and you should never be afraid to seek support and hope, because there's organisations like yours and those that support your organisation that are saying don't think about it, get in touch, we can hopefully help. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Thanks so much.
Look after yourself, buddy. Thank you. That's Gary Glennon there. Back with more after the news.
The Greg Hughes Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000. No hidden fees or charges. Is 2026 the year you move into your dream home? Call 074 9102127 or email mortgage@letterkennycu.ie.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonagh. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
Thinking about what you'll do after your leaving cert? Further education and training could be your next step.
You find your individuality doing a further education course. You learn valuable, interesting skills that you can actually then use in a workplace. And it just sets you up, like particularly just after you're leaving cert.
Find the course for you with Donegal Education and Training Board at donegaletb.ie. An initiative of Solus and the Government of Ireland.
Ready to upgrade your car? At Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town, we've got a great selection of makes and models to suit every budget. With flexible finance option and trade-ins welcome, upgrading has never been easier. Visit ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to see us at Shane Conley Cars, Drumlonagher, Donegal Town.
Darlumse, we het macht of een handkesten voor Easter.
Darlum féin is ann fós den bharna fá idir na fér agus na mná. Tá ceiste na tábhachtach le cur faoin obair agus faoin bá. Sinní an chúis a bhfuil an phríomh ifig stadrah nó CSO ag gurí ort Port a Chacha is survey struchtúr na Dilemh. Le cabhar wetse baimid den an bunolalas a cur faoin blé agus faoi chinntaí rí-tábhachtacha. Tá an CSO nabs blok agus tá an survey seo faoi rún. Má aon tú litir an CSO, Glockport is survey struchtúr na Dilemh agus aber leat.
Start your new year with a new floor. At Florit, we have quality solid, semi-solid and laminate quick vinyl flooring, together with a vast range of parquet herringbone flooring, all fitted and tailored to your needs. Sale now on. Call Florit today on 087 167 008 or visit florit.ie.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. EU Commissioner Michael McGrath is being asked to urgently intervene today in a procedural row that could see the European Parliament sidestepped in attempts to ratify the Mercosur trade deal. Midlands North West MEP Kieran Mullooly says Commission President Ursula von der Leyen may attempt to proceed with the implementation of the deal before democratic ratification by the Parliament. He says to ignore the procedures established under European treaties would be dangerous, highly irresponsible and hugely damaging to the relationship between European citizens and the Commission. Mr Mullooly says other areas of the deal should proceed with meat imports excluded.
We are in favour of trade and exporting. I think we should move forward by suspending that element of the trade agreement. Suspend the sale of all meat from South America.
Envu once former Finance Minister Paschal Donohoe brought before the Finance Committee in the Oireachtas over his decision to give €10 million more to the World Bank than was asked for last year. The party's leader, Padraig O'Bean, is describing this as a serious potential conflict of interest. Mr Donohoe gave the €10 million extra to the World Bank in April of 2025 before resigning as Finance Minister the following November to take up a role at the World Bank. Padraig O'Bean says this raises major questions.
If that happened in any other walk of life, there would be questions asked as to the conflict of interest in a person making those decisions and potentially being in receipt of a high income from that organisation a few months later. So this has to be dealt with. It's potentially one of the most serious conflicts of interest that I've seen in Leinster House in my time there. So we're asking the chairperson of the committee to invite Paschal Donohoe in so that he can answer questions to what exactly is going on here.
New roadside technology is leading to a sharp rise in the number of uninsured vehicles being taken off Irish roads. Gardaí seized more than 16,000 vehicles after gaining instant access to the Irish Motor Insurance database. They say the system is making it far harder for uninsured drivers to avoid detection. The price of the average three-bedroom semi-detached home in Donegal rose to €207,500 last year, up 15.3% from the €180,000 figure registered at the end of 2024. That's according to a national survey by Real Estate Alliance. Across the county, the average time taken to sell rose to 5 weeks in the last 3 months of the year. That's according to the REA's Quarter 4 Price Index. The survey shows that across Donegal over the last 3 months of the year, 33% of purchasers were first-time buyers. A total of 18% of sales in the county were attributed to landlords leaving the market. Women across Donegal are being urged to consider political leadership and representation. Donegal County Council remains the most gender-imbalanced local authority in the country, with just 3 women among 37 councillors. Councillors Joy Beard, Niamh Kennedy and Dakota Nick Venman. See Her Elected has launched its election workshop series today, with the first focusing on motivation and helping participants begin building a strong and authentic candidate profile. The workshops are free, online and run once a month until June. Councillor Joy Beard says she used the service before running for election in 2024.
I took the course you can do online, and it gives you all the aspects of actually from campaigning through to what a local councillor does, and what's expected of you. And I found it extremely helpful. It was easily understood, put in layman's terms, and I would encourage anyone that maybe is thinking about, going into local politics in any way to do that course, to take it on, because it does give you a better insight into local politics.
Donegal County Council is encouraging people to recycle any natural Christmas trees. The free service will run until Saturday week, January 24th. The council is asking people to ensure the tree is real and all decorations are removed to facilitate the trees being used in a special environmental protection scheme. With more, here's Alex Rowley.
As part of a joint initiative by the Council and the Lochs Agency, natural trees which have been recycled in Donegal are repurposed to stabilise riverbanks, reduce erosion and create habitats for wildlife. Trees from last year's pilot scheme are already being used as green engineering along the banks of the River Cummerk in Donegal. Lorraine Arbuckle, Climate Action Coordinator at Donegal County Council, says after the success of last year's scheme, this is another opportunity for residents to give back to nature, as recycling trees responsibly is not only good for the environment but also directly benefits local ecosystems. By recycling their natural Christmas trees, she says people are helping to protect our rivers, strengthen biodiversity and support climate resilience in Donegal.
Scattered showers today merging into longer spells of rain at times with occasional sunny intervals. Top temperature 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. Moderate to fresh southwesterly winds, decreasing light to moderate this evening. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11. Check all the day's news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Monday morning, the 12th of January. The death has taken place of Patricia Bonner, née Doherty, Town Park's convoy, formerly of Ballyholy, Raphoe, reposing at Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny this evening from 5 o'clock until 8 o'clock with Rosary at 7:45. Removal from there tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, going to St Eunan's Church, Raphoe, to repose overnight. Funeral there on Wednesday morning at 11, which can be viewed on parishofraphoe.ie, with interment afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired, to the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Patsy Henderson, née Brennan, 10 Minashesk Place, Strabane, formerly of Corcullion, Castlefin, reposing at her home from 12 noon tomorrow. Funeral from there on Wednesday morning at 9:25 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. and on the morning of the funeral. The Requiem Mass can be viewed via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Patrick Paki McElhinney, Chiarnaslago, Uris Clonmany. Funeral from his home this morning at 10:30, going to St Michael's Church, Uris, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired to St Columkill Village, care of any family member, or Comiskey Funeral Directors. House private please, before the funeral. The death has taken place of Bill Meehan, 201 Town Park's convoy. His remains are reposing at his home from 12 noon until after the Rosary at 9 o'clock this evening. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to St Mary's Church convoy for 11 o'clock funeral mass, followed by burial in the old graveyard. Family time please before the funeral tomorrow. The death has taken place of Margaret McKinley, née McFadden, 8 Chapel Road, Dunfanaghy. The house is strictly private please. Funeral service in Holy Trinity Church, Hornhead Road, Dunfanaghy, this afternoon at 1 o'clock. Burial afterwards in Clondahorky Cemetery. The death has taken place of Anna Robinson, Stanfield House, Dremenan St Johnson. Funeral leaving her home this afternoon at 1:30, going to Ballylennon Presbyterian Church for a service of thanksgiving for her life at 2 o'clock, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family time, please, before the funeral. Donations in memory of Anna, if desired, to Ballylennon Presbyterian Church, care of Geoffrey Vance or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. And the death has taken place of Nora Sweeney, née Call, Maharalosk, Bunbeg, originally of Derrybeg, reposing at St Columkille's Church, Knockfulla. Funeral Mass this morning at 11, with burial afterwards in Maharagallan Cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty, Funeral Director's Facebook page and on the church webcam. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
When you make the choice to join a club, that's when you feel it. That support. It's felt in your very core. It brings teammates together on the pitch and the local community to the sidelines. The ones who've seen it all one week and never seen anything like it the next. That's support. And that's why AIB supports our Gaelic games. Because we believe support gets you the life you're truly after. AIB, for the life you're after.
Where your opinion matters. The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It does matter very much indeed. How many people raise money for a particular cause, says a listener, to donate to one specific cause? Ukraine, orphans, Gaza, amputees, Chernobyl children. What's the difference between donating to help disadvantaged Irish people? Well, I suppose it goes with the ethos of the group that you're donating to. So if you want to donate to Chernobyl children, there are Chernobyl children's charities, you know specifically what you're donating to. In relation to the local group, they help all families. So then to sort of stick in caveats goes against their ethos. On fishing, just listening to comments, fishing destroyed Irish water, a disaster, farming, World Banks, TDs, civil servants. Aren't we being loyal, i.e. screwed up? Except it's not by the Crown, but our very own, the multi-millionaires. The so-called NGOs. Ireland is on the brink of losing its identity, sovereignty, ability to feed its own population. What to be done? Morning, Greg. To your caller, Gary. I didn't hear Gary or too many on the radio supporting an Irish family who lost their rented home to a foreign family. Please don't say you haven't heard this, as it was on the news and in local newspapers. How is this situation fair? Well, I'm going to say I didn't hear that. I'm not saying it didn't happen. Loads of you texting in relation to that. I'll get to more of those in a moment. I want to go now, though, to Siobhan Harkin, Director of Paediatric Nursing with the HSE North West West. Good morning to you, Siobhan. Thank you so much for your time today.
Good morning, Greg. Glad to meet you and your listeners this Monday morning.
Now, families with lived experience of caring for a child with a life-limiting illness who have experienced the death of a child are invited to take part in a family engagement workshop. And the function of purpose of this workshop, sorry, Siobhan.
Yes, I suppose I'll give a little bit of a background first, Greg. I think that might be helpful.
Yes, for sure.
Last year we asked families across the West and Northwest to join us in a research study, and we asked them what was important to them in terms of caring for a child with a life-limiting condition and parents who had lost children previously. And they told us they wanted care to be coordinated. They'd like to have a hub where care could be coordinated through, and they'd like a place. So a lot of them had experience of attending Laura Lynn Children's Hospice in Dublin, but that's a bit of a journey, and they felt they wanted a place that would be nearer, more accessible. So move on now to 2026, and we are now, the HSE is partnering with the Mayo Roscommon Hospice Foundation, who are willing to build this place. We want to go back out to parents because the design of a new children's hospice needs to be informed by parents. Their experiences are so unique in terms of caring for a child with a life-limiting condition or a parent whose child has died. So not only the parents, but the siblings and indeed the children themselves. So we would like families to come to Donegal next Saturday to the Abbey Hotel, and we're starting at 9 and we'll be there till 1, and we want them to share with us what matters most to them in terms of a new children's hospice, in terms of the design. So if they went into it, what would they like to see? What would be important to them? And some of these parents have already been in Laurelin, so they have that experience, and some haven't because it's so far away. And also, what type of services, what is important to them?
But it would help. It really is an invaluable gift too, I suppose. You could look at it that, because for some, unfortunately, they may have had this experience and have lost their child, but they are in a unique position to try and ensure the other families that invariably, very sadly, will get this news or have this change in their life, that their experience is as positive a one as can be. So in a way, and it could even be in the memory of someone you've lost, it might be difficult, but it would be a wonderful gift, I think, to give others who may be going through or have to experience what you went through.
Absolutely. And we found that last year when we had done our research, parents very generously shared their experiences. And it's often when you've had time maybe to reflect on what happened to your family and maybe what could have been better for you, what would have, improved things, or what really worked well. And indeed, I suppose we understand that it's sensitive and it can be difficult to revisit in those memories. So this engagement or this meeting will be dealt with very sensitively. There will be support there. And so I suppose we want to, as you said, that there's about honouring the memory, but it's about honouring that experience and understanding your experience and understanding what would you want. I would, for me, and I think for our colleagues that are working together, we would like to see when families go into the hospice that they recognise it. They're going, okay, this is this is what we wanted. So like on the day, the architects who are designing this hospice will be there. So also one of our consultants, Dr. Simon Woods, who is our new consultant in the HSE West Northwest, who has a special interest of working with children in palliative care. So he will be there, I will be there. So we are going to, ask parents, ask families, ask siblings questions, look for their input and take that on board.
Yeah. So, now, this is a significant development. This is the first children's hospital to be built outside the capital. And it's the first major project of its kind built nationally for, well over a decade. 2011, I believe the last is. What is the time frame of this? Obviously, clearly, the Mayo Roscommon Hospice Foundation, they say they're going to fund it. I presume that, a lot of work is ongoing. When do they expect to begin construction if it hasn't started already? And when might this facility be available for those it suits better than the Dublin facilities?
Great question, Greg. So at the moment we're on, I suppose, moving towards planning. So first of all, the Mayo Roscommon Hospice Foundation have acquired a site. So there is a site. It is in Castlebar. The second piece then is to finalise designs for the hospice and go towards planning. We're hoping that will happen in April, May time, and then to get through the planning process. So it's hard to know how long that will take, but we do have a lot of support through the council, and there has been a lot of engagement with the Mayo Roscommon Foundation and the council. So then it goes to build. So realistically, I think we're looking towards 2028. However, I just want to say that services are already being provided to children and families across our whole region. As I said, we have our consultant in place. In each of our counties, we have a clinical nurse coordinator for life-limiting conditions.
And I know the Donegal Hospice does an awful lot of space in this
exactly.
area.
And our existing hospices, provide a lot of support for these families.
Okay.
I suppose the benefit of this building it will be somewhere for families to go, and a children's hospice, I suppose it's end-of-life care is only one element of what they provide, and that's I suppose different. We want children to thrive, and there's when you go to a children's hospice, it could be for symptom management, it could be for planned respite, it could be for an emergency respite. It's sibling family supports. There can be, a therapeutic interventions for the family. It could be about the coordination of care. And so it's very, very I suppose different things that happen within a children's hospice setting.
And I think a lot of it's very good to get that information out there for the general population. I think a lot of the people we're appealing to today, would have an understanding of all those different experiences, as we would with the sort of adult hospice. Palliative care is not always end-of-life care, and there's a lot of nuances in there as well. But listen, it would be important to get a good turnout for this meeting on Saturday the 17th of January. That's this coming Saturday. It's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's in the Abbey Hotel. There'll be tea and coffee available as well, a light lunch served at 1. And if you are able to attend, please confirm your attendance by emailing the Family Engagement Workshop, Marie, Marie, at hospice.ie. Any of those information, or if you need a phone number, contact us and we'll make sure to pass on the relevant information. Thank you so much for your time, Siobhan.
Thank you, Greg.
Bye-bye. Take care. That's Siobhan Hawken, Director of Paediatric Nursing, HSE West Northwest.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 12th of January. You're playing on the green sheet for the daily prize of €600. The reference number is S11. It's game number 3. The numbers are 16, 67, 6, 58, 39, 83, 40, 62, 55, and finally 74. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The local name for insurance you can trust is Hickey, Clark and Langan. They compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price every time. Home, car or van, farm, commercial or public liability. Whatever you need, they're there to help. Drop into Ballymacool, Letterkenny or call 9126688. Hickey, Clark and Langan, saving you time, money and hassle. Hickey, Clark and Langan is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
Keep out the cold, and ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
The Hidden Hearing 7-step hearing assessment is reassuringly thorough. It's thorough, so background noise never steals the spotlight, letting every conversation take centre stage. It's thorough, so you can step back into the world with confidence. Book your 7-step hearing assessment at hiddenhearing.ie today.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans made easy. Apply online or through our app today and get the funds straight into your current account.
Okay, on the issue of donations, well done to Gary and his team on being principled. Regardless of your colour, creed or religion, if you're in need, what matters is that help is there for you. Shame on the individual who said they were only interested in looking after one group of people. On the issue of finance, hi Greg, can you find out why we are paying 132 million to the World Bank and what it's for? It's much more than that, but yes, of course I will. Well, I can get the official line, whether or not we buy that or not. We'll have a chat about it, yeah? Nice little, well, can't use that word. Nice little uplift by Pascal with Irish taxpayers' cash to World Bank. Didn't do his job prospects any harm, did it? What a country we live in. On the issue of water, hi Greg, living in the Lifford area, have carers calling in to shower a family member this morning at 7:45 a.m. They were unable to do so as the water was turned off. Surely if water pressure is turned down or off, it should be put back on before 7 a.m. as most people need it if they're going to work or school and leaving at 8 a.m. Please, can you get an explanation from Uisce Ireland or Uisce Éireann regarding this practice? Thank you. Of course, we will try. Back to the donations. I personally would not give a donation to any organisation that's funded by TUSLA. Now, this is an area where we have to be really careful in that, I don't want to sound preachy, there are people of genuine concerns about TUSLA, and it seems that every time we have one concern, another one comes along. That being said, there are fantastic agencies that are funded by TUSLA, independent of TUSLA, other than the money that they receive. And it would be a darn shame if they were to lose out because of question marks over TUSLA. That's all I will say in relation to that. I have expressed concern myself in terms of certain cases that TUSLA have been involved in. But please, TUSLA support other agencies that work very, very well and very, very hard. And I get where you're coming from, but just think it through logically. Big deal, says a listener. It's up to the donator to decide their preference, not up to him to decide. Maybe we aren't all treated equally with accommodation and travel perks, etc. And last one on this issue just for now. In reference to the donation to Irish families only, this donation for only Irish families is fair and just. How much money is made available in this wee country for immigrants? Only money that's not for Irish families. The Irish are being discriminated against every day. This man needs to think of the country he's living in first. Listen, you know, if we were getting stories back from the United States or Australia or elsewhere that Irish families were being discriminated in this regard, you know, young babies not being afforded nappies and baby wipes and Sudocrem because they happen to be Irish, we'd be up in arms. I take where you're coming from. The LYFS works with all families to support them, especially in the area of support for looking after kids and babies and stuff. This doesn't matter what colour their skin is or where they're from, folks. They're babies, they're children, they're young mums. You know, do we need to just have a look at ourselves and not lose our humanity altogether? Because what we have, what's happening here, it sounds to me, is that the plight of babies and young mums is being tied in with other frustrations people might have in terms of immigration, emigration, etc. And just, we need to weed it out and think for ourselves. We really need to think for ourselves. Right, let's go to Kevin, who's a resident in Farhill Lodge, Dunlow. Good morning to you, Kevin. How are you keeping? Hello.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
My apologies. Slight delay on the line. I have you now. Right, you are amongst those with concerns over the lack of clarity on construction work at Farhill Lodge in Dunlow. What's the background to this, Kevin?
It's a three-story building, apartment building, social housing that's managed and owned by an organisation called Respond. The ground floor was laying vacant for 10 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
Funding was made available to convert it then into 8 two-bedroom apartments for much-needed social housing, which is all well and good. The works was slated to take 4 to 6 months, and here we are 29 months later, and there's still no end in sight to the works. The communication... Sorry.
No, go on ahead. Please carry on. I thought you'd paused there, Kevin.
No. The communication from Respond with the residents has been non-existent, apart from the odd text message and one very disingenuous attempt to meet the residents, where they contacted us the evening before to say they'd be here in the morning, which gave nobody any notice to be available. Now, 2 major issues have arisen that we're aware of, serious issues. there's major structural issues that have been ongoing here in the building with extremely large cracks in the building all over, inside and outside.
Mm-hmm.
So there's concerns about mica. Now, core drilling was done back last year or maybe the year before. We were told verbally that there was nothing to worry about, but I believe the council have been told something very different. Sources have told me.
Mm.
So we need to know what the issues are there. And there's also a major fire safety issue. They discovered when they commenced the works that there was a fire barrier that's supposed to be in the walls and the ceilings that was absent. Now, at the time the building was constructed, it was not a legal requirement to have this barrier fitted. So it's understandable that it's a retrofit situation. But this is the same issue that shut down Priory Hall in Dublin. I don't know if you remember that.
Of course I
where
do,
the entire building had to be evacuated, because of fire risk. But they've been untruthful. I don't want to.
Well, just we have to be careful with the. But it could have been a miscommunication, or we'll just be really careful with our language, Kevin. But I understand your concerns. I'm not trying to mute you. You understand that?
No, I understand. I'm trying to be diplomatic in the way I word.
Appreciate it.
They're not forthcoming. They're not forthcoming with the information.
You haven't got the information that. Yeah, exactly. So, if there's a couple of key questions here. A, what is the exact situation in terms of the retrofitting of this fire retardant system? B, is this building affected by defective concrete blocks? Any other questions that you'd be keen to get a response to?
Absolutely. The building has been allowed to fall into a total state of disrepair. The building looks derelict. If you were to drive by the building now and look, I've sent through photographs here. We have them up there on the screen, actually. It looks derelict. It actually looks worse than what you're looking at right there. That's an old photograph. Most of the paint that you see on that image on your screen is gone.
Uh-huh.
It's down to bare plaster. There's mold on the walls. The cracks are getting noticeably bigger.
Paint coming away from walls would be I would really want to be checking out what's going on here if that's happening, you know.
Oh, it's in a horrific state. It's the talk of the town, the building. People are asking if the building is derelict, if we're being moved out. There's a new project currently being built of social housing, and people are of the opinion that this is being shut down and we're being moved up there, which is not the case. There's a lot of rumours which tend to fly in the lack of information.
So how many apartments are there currently, Kevin?
There's 20 apartments with 21 residents.
Yeah.
Many of the residents are elderly. So, some have mobility issues. Some have vision impairment. And to tolerate construction works for 2.5 years it's just ridiculous. The quality of life is on the floor here for the residents, and they're sick looking at it. And the people of the town, they're ashamed when visitors come to visit.
Right. Well, what we are
once the pride. It was once. Sorry, Greg.
It's just delay on the line, Kevin. It's affecting both of us. What we're going to do is try and get some of the answers that you've given to us on air and off air as well. Try and get some clarity. I think, we as humans are really good when we have information, right? We can process it, we can deal with it, we can make allowances if need be. The vacuum of no information can lead to concerns, misinformation, and I think in a situation like this, the more open and transparent everyone is, the better it is. And we'll endeavour to try and make that so, Kevin.
Yeah, well, absolutely brilliant. And I 100% agree with you. Once people are in possession of the facts, they can deal with it.
Yeah, that's
the
it.
The problem here is different stories are flying around, and I have evidence where we've been told one thing and the council have been told something completely different. Mm-hmm. Which I don't know who's been misled, whether it's us or whether it's the council. But there's serious issues over response management of this situation.
Okay, listen, thank you very much for your time, Kevin. I must move on. I do appreciate it because Micheál Colm McGillen-Asbag, a local councillor, was speaking to the newsroom too in relation to this. Let's hear what he had to say.
Well, to be very honest, first thing I would like to say is I think it's an absolute disgrace that this AHB has been given massive taxpayers' money. And here we are at a time, due to government policy, that we are finding homelessness at a record high. In my own municipal district area, we have quite a high number of homelessness, and we have a building that belongs to Response, paid by taxpayers' money, and they were to build on the ground floor 8 two-bedroom apartments. Them 8 two-bedroom apartments started works a years ago, which is no reflection whatsoever onto the contractor, and yet to this day, them apartments haven't been finished. Now, the HSE and Respond entered into an agreement which ended up that the ground floor laid empty for many, many years, which that itself is immoral and a disgrace.
All right, that was the local councillor there, Micheál Colm McGillen-Asbach, who's also been speaking in relation to or on that topic. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. On the issue of rats, Greg, we always keep Tory clay in our home, and it does work. Please don't be, or no need to be disrespectful, because you are from the other side of the county and don't realise the value we have for it. Rosaline Connolly, thank you. I wouldn't dream of being disrespectful. What I was saying quite simply is this is not to doubt it. It would be, as someone who is interested in content creation, a fascinating documentary to listen to, I think, or to watch in any case. And I have my own personal beliefs and all of that kind of stuff. They might align with yours, so we shouldn't be too quick to judge each other either. On the issue of fishing, I'm a small business person supplying to these boats, and I'm in the Inishowen area. There's a massive knock-on effect. It's not just the fishermen who are being put out of business. There is a chain of people being hit. Very good point. Thank you. On the controversy surrounding that donation, the guy needs to cop himself on. Look after the Irish people first. He's living in Peter Pan world. Look after the Irish families first, full stop. He should have taught this person by taking his donation and carry on business as usual. Back to fishing. Isn't it so sad, our traditional way of life, our fishing now and our farming just being given away by our TDs, civil servants and the EU? Another. Why aren't our government looking out for us in Europe instead of bending over backwards? In Brussels, this government, this government has sold the fishermen out. Say what we want, but it's them who made it the situation as it is. Right, okay, back with more shortly.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. New year, new wheels. Drive into 2026 with a low-rate car loan. Fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or visit today.
I had problems with my knees for about 7-8 years. I think I'd give Kingsbridge 5 stars just because of the support and help that they gave me before and after the surgery. I was a public patient and the HSE reimbursed the costs.
Republic of Ireland residents can get rapid access to cross-border surgeries at Kingsbridge private hospitals in Belfast and Derry, with medical costs reimbursed by the HSE. Find out more at kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border. Kingsbridge, your fast track to 5-star care. Terms and conditions apply.
In the big winter sale at Watson Menswear in Letterkenny, a selection of shirts and polos are half price. Also, a choice of children's clothing, half price. There's jeans, 2 for €75, 30% off winter coats, suits clearing from €99, and many more great top label menswear bargains. In the big winter sale now on at Watson Menswear, Main Street, Letterkenny, and at watsonmenswear.com.
Granny, did you hear what I said?
If you've been saying, what was that? A bit more lately, it might be time to have your hearing checked. At Connect Hearing, we don't just fit hearing aids, we help you hear life again. From tiny in-the-ear styles to Bluetooth connected devices, we fit the best solution for you. Call 074 911 3296. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, iPath MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
Okie doke. Now we are joined on the program by Paddy Brown, also known, of course, on social media as the Viking Dipper. Paddy, thanks for joining me. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Great. How was your weekend?
It was lovely. It was a busy one.
Really?
But,
everyone says quiet, but it's good. It's busy, is it?
It's yeah. I was busy. I was down in Dublin last night, and I had to travel back up, so it was busy enough, and feeling a bit tired still here today.
All
Greg.
right. Well, listen, you'll sleep better tonight. We're talking to you in the context of something you've been talking about, and that is you're seeking an ADHD diagnosis. So why now? And what brought you to this point before we talk about the difficulties therein, Paddy?
Well, it's the start of the year 2026. You know the way you do. Everyone does their new year, new me, and you set yourself a few goals and things like that. Well, one of mine was to finally get this, to go for this ADHD review, because having speaking to other people that have it and having wee moments of thought myself, I related to a lot of what I was being told and what I was reading, and I just really want to find out for myself, maybe if I have it or not. And, I don't even mind how long it's going to take. It's just kind of for peace of mind,
Would you feel that you kind of know? Is that what's taking you on this journey?
Yeah, I feel like I relate to a lot of things, like, Greg, there's a few questions on the questionnaire, and a few of them I'd be nodding my head going, well, that's kind of me,
Yeah.
And other wee things too that are on it. I'm like, I do feel like I may have it, to be honest.
And what has been the process then so far? You say, right, okay, this might make some things make sense, but I want to, I don't want to. I want to know formally. I want to get a diagnosis, right? So, what has surprised you, or what's been your experience in down this road so far, Paddy?
Right. So I've only began this last week, Greg.
Yeah.
And I've went into the doctor, lovely doctor, and I spoke to her, and she told me that a lot of people in their older years have come forward and have felt this as well. So the process was, there's an evaluation sheet, which I'm not very impressed with, Greg. So they give you that, and you have to fill it out. It's basically, I have it in front of me. It's it's 3 pages long, and you fill that out and you have to drop it back. Now, this evaluation sheet is for a child. It really is. There's no mention of adult on it, except for in the second part of the little questions, it says if you are an adult, but most of it doesn't really cater to somebody of my age.
Right.
And that's the first thing I noticed. Now, when I send this away, it could take up to 2 years for me to be diagnosed through this method. And if I wanted to find out a little quicker, I could get a private diagnosis, Greg.
And do you think that's right? Because, Paddy, some listening might say that in a child's situation, so that's where the resources go, it's a need, not necessarily a want. But in your situation, at this stage in your life, this diagnosis is a want, maybe, rather than a need. And maybe adults should expect delays in I'm only putting this out here for the purpose of conversation. It's not an opinion, Paddy, but you get where I'm coming from, that if we do
100%, Greg, and I definitely agree, because even whenever I see some of the questions, like, I'm an adult, I can actually, withhold, even though I have the urge, I can withhold, I have a bit more control. Now, I'm sure there's also different levels of ADHD, but 100%, there is, I agree with you there on that, Greg.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to, I'm not asking about your finances. I hope you're not. I don't think I am. But I don't think any of us necessarily have, 15 or 1,700 euro, just to chuck away. How important is this? You've started the process. I think you're doing invaluable work in getting the information out there about this form, which, it's crazy that there isn't one that's, articulated with an adult in mind. So are you going to sit on it and wait and see how the public system works? Or has this got into you now at the point whereby you probably need to try and make it work for you privately?
Well, no, that's the thing. I'm in no panic. I don't feel like, it's changing me or anything. It's just more for peace of mind. And just touching on the private thing, it is very expensive. And I think that would put a lot of people off, because you could pay the 1,500, 1,700, and you mightn't even get, you might be told that you're not.
Yeah.
And it might, after having all these feelings. So I think that puts a lot of people off going down the private route, and maybe also is a reason why it takes so long for you to get the results going down, just following the normal, without.
Yeah. Listen, I know you're obviously very active on social media with your influencing and everything else that you do, right? But it's not easy either at the same time to put yourself out there in the personal sense, i.e., I wonder, do I have ADHD? And I wonder, in doing so, firstly, I think it's good to normalise the conversation, though we're doing well in that regard to some extent already. But I think particularly in terms of adults, but also to what you're getting back from the people you're engaging with. Talk to me about, what people have said to you about you sharing your own personal situation, but also to what has come back to you for people who, because we're good people, right, to sort of offer you support or advice in this space.
Yeah, well, a lot of people some people have said, oh my God, this is me. I feel the same way. Others were actually right there in the doctors, their local doctors or GPs, going in to do the same thing. And then people with ADHD were reassuring me and telling me, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means that, your brain's a little bit wired differently. And thank you for, just putting it out there and not being ashamed, to say it. And I never, ever would feel, embarrassed or anything or shamed about speaking about something like that, because at the end of the day, it's not a lack of intelligence. It's just a struggle with regulation. So
it's just brains working in different ways. But what it does is, though, it can make sense, and it also can adjust how we do things going forward as well, to make our life as fleeting as it is, as easy as is possible. Keep us updated. I mean, obviously, you're going to keep your followers updated. You can check out Paddy across social media, The Viking Dipper. There's lots of content there. But it's an interesting one, Paddy. Keep us updated. Anything you want to add just whilst we have the opportunity?
Yeah, just there when we're talking about it, a lot of people too, and myself as well. Yeah. It would make me think back to my school days, and I kind of like that's where I was the most. I was like, oh my God, you know what? Maybe that's
well. You see, Paddy, I didn't want
such a problem at school.
I didn't want to pry too much into that, because I wasn't really sure how much you shared, and that's why what I meant by things start to make sense. A lot of people as adults, I've spoken to so many of them with a later in life diagnosis of ADHD or others. It gives them some peace, because their school life was very, very difficult, and they were deemed to be, a messer or bold or whatever, and it can make a lot of sense and bring a lot of comfort to some people, depending on their personality in adult life. Things can start to make sense. That's what I was getting at. So it's interesting you picked up on that yourself, Paddy.
Yeah. So make sure, don't be getting Gracie Peoples or Annette Gallagher on here they were my school teachers there now. So
well, I want to know what they've got to say about you now. You shouldn't have mentioned the names. They can private message me on Facebook.
but at the end of the day, anyway, it's just about getting a bit of clarity and hopefully encouraging others to ask some questions too, Greg, because it's just about understanding yourself. Just can change everything. That's all I'm looking to do really with this.
No, I get you.
I will do a few updates.
All right, look after yourself, Paddy. Keep up the great work. Thanks very much indeed. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Right, now, the cost of posting a letter is going up again. Stamp prices to increase in line with European postal rates to safeguard services. Caroline wanted me to mention this because I think it's an age thing, isn't it? No, it's not. Am I in trouble? Sorry. But anyway, falling letter volumes and rising overheads for fixed cost networks are resulting in stamp increases globally. So the national stamp will be $1.85 from Tuesday, the 3rd of February. That's an increase of 20 cents. $3.80 rate for Europe. I think An Post are more interested in delivering parcels. I think the delivering letters now, they can charge what they like because there's not enough people that are going to be bothered by this unless you're in business and you rely on this area quite extensively. So maybe you are vexed about the increase to postal deliveries. Your letters, etc. Let us know. 08660 25,000.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Big plans, big dreams. Home improvement loans, borrow up to €80,000. Visit letterkennycu.ie today.
Foy's biggest ever January sale is on now with massive savings across every department. From stylish giftware and kitchenware to beautiful rugs, curtains and fabrics. Also, great reductions on cushions, wall art, throws, home accessories and clearance furniture. Don't miss out on the big January sale now on at Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny.
If you're feeling unwell, Clinic 45 is now open in Letterkenny, providing expert care with a wide range of medical services, including blood tests, vaccines, minor injuries and prescriptions. Consultations are just €45. Clinic 45 now open Monday to Friday at Fort Lynn House in Fort Breachill Park, Letterkenny, opposite the new Duns. No appointment needed. See clinic45.ie.
It's time to book Paul Claffey's trip to sunny Spain 2026. To celebrate 30 years of amazing holidays, we're heading back to the beautiful Barossa Hotel in Cadiz for one very special week from June 4th to the 11th, 2026. Joining Paul is Mike Denver, with special guests Jerry Guthrie, Dominic Kerwin, Brendan Shine, David James, Gina and many more, with flights from Knock, Dublin, Cork, Shannon, Belfast and the UK. The price is from only €1,289 plus tax and charges. For details call 01 685 2244 or see paulclaffeytours.ie.
With 56 post offices across Donegal from Lifford to Letterkenny and an award-winning Irish customer service team, An Post Money is the only current account that's truly local. Start your financial year the right way. Pop in to your local post office or download the An Post Money app today. An Post Money, making better happen. Terms and conditions apply. A monthly maintenance fee applies. An Post is authorised by the Minister for Finance to provide payment services and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland in the provision of such services.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Are you ready to save big? The McElhenney's winter sale is here with up to 50% off your favourite designer brands. Shop in store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So, showery rain will move northeastwards across the region today with limited sunny spells. Temperatures of 7 to 10 degrees with moderate fresh to southwesterly winds decreasing light to moderate this evening. I'm joined in studio now by Corinne Temple of the digital media team here at Highland Radio. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you keeping?
All good, yeah.
Good to have you in us. Right, okay, so it's nearly upon us, the Hospitality Awards 2026. And this is our, hard to believe now, third Hospitality Awards. Talk to us about them.
Yes, so we're launching them here now this morning, and it's the third year, as you said. They're kind of solidified now in the awards calendar, our hospitality and our customer service, and businesses kind of be waiting on us to launch them. So it's the same format as other years. You have 4 categories. You have your restaurant, bar and pub, hotel, and tourism and entertainment. And it's a really, really simple process to go on and nominate your favourite business. It's live now on our website on highlandradio.com. And all we ask is the business name, location, the category you want to nominate them in, your name and why you're nominating them.
Okay, and it all culminates then in a big night in the wonderful, make sure I get this right, Jackson's Hotel.
Jackson's Hotel. So this year it'll be on the 1st of March, so it's Sunday the 1st of March in Jackson's Hotel in Ballybuffet.
Yeah, and I think a testimony to the establishment of these awards in the calendar of awards, and there's very little happens at this scale in this part of the world, is big sponsors coming on board again.
That's it. Like, we have Donegal County Council and Fáilte Ireland on board for a second year. We also have our category sponsors, Northwest Gas, SafeTech and AirGrid, and they've been with us for a few years as well. So it really feels good for us to have them back on board, because it means that, you know, they feel that they want to be part of it and that they feel it's important for their brand to be alongside it. So it's good for us that they want to be partnering with us.
There are 4 headline categories, as you mentioned: restaurant, bar and pub, hotel, tourism, entertainment, but a lot of subcategories underneath that. The idea is that these awards catch all types of hospitality businesses and services.
Mm-hmm. So we have 40 categories in total that you can nominate. So I'll just give you some examples because we're not going to list out the full 40 here now. So you have Best Cafe, Best Burger, Restaurant of the Year, Best Family Venue, Tourist Attraction of the Year, Best Beer Garden, Bar Person, Pub of the Year, Best Hotel Spa and Hotel of the Year. And again, that's just an example of some of them that you can nominate under. So there's a huge range there. And, you know, you can be nominated under 2 or 3 of those categories as well that suit the business. So
obviously it's up to, you know, clients, customers to nominate as well, but businesses can... there's no harm in getting the message out there as well to sort of say, right, look, these awards are upcoming. Give us a vote if you're happy with the service that you're getting.
Exactly. And there's actually a feature on the website. So there's a wee poster that you can download that says nominate us. You can put that around your business. You can share it on your socials. So that's live there now on highlandradio.com. So yeah, there's absolutely no harm in asking your followers, your customers to nominate you as well if they aren't familiar with it. It's a good way of getting them to give you a wee nomination.
Yeah, because it's an important space to be engaging with your customers as well. And it's a great way for the public to give back to businesses, local businesses that, as I've said in the past, are supporting the community. They provide services. They're making money, of course, but they're big employers, they're big supporters of local initiatives and all that kind of stuff. So again, how do people nominate? So
highlandradio.com, there'll be a wee banner there on the homepage, and click into that. And as I say, it'll take less than a minute to get your nomination in. So it's definitely worth doing it. We use these businesses all the time. So it's nice just to give them a wee bit of recognition.
Yeah, and again, if you are a business owner, go in and check the categories. The categories have been set up so that your business, if you are in the hospitality space, your business will be there to check it out, get the poster and, get the message out, get that interaction going with your customers.
Exactly. And the night itself, Greg, it's such a fun night from the minute people come through the door. There's just such a feel-good factor and it's lovely to just have something positive like that to look forward to in your business and to celebrate with your team as well.
Yeah, and a great night out and a great venue as well.
Exactly.
Jackson's is stunning.
Oh, it's great, and we work so well with them, and they know the running of how we want things to go on the night, so it just makes it less stressful for all of us as well.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, check out the website.
Lovely, yep.
highlandradio.com. Thank you so much, Corinne. I really appreciate that. Let's get to some of your comments here that have been coming in. A lot of you interested in US affairs. A caller says, you've got America trying to destroy international law, bring back my... can't. Right, I'll come back to that because there's a couple of words in there that are just thrown me off to the point where I can't actually catch up. Back on that issue though, UN Charter's not worth the paper they're written on. People are dumb. Trump is a puppet for the dumb people to blame. Who's he a puppet of though? Geopolitics is a soap opera, and the dumbed down, vaccinated, fluoridated people only have the attention span for the next headline. Next week will be something else, and this will be forgotten. On the issue of donations, the Irish have to work anywhere in the world they want. They don't get handouts. Greg, nothing to do with pulling people's heartstrings. Most of the immigrants are coming here for handouts. Ask Roderick O'Gorman. Oh, that's that tweet he sent out. Do you know the amount of Irish people who are living in London who went over there to work, and they don't have family over there anymore? They've got nowhere to come home from. I don't pull stuff out of my backside and start talking about it. I know in London, for an example, and other UK cities and other places around the world, that there comes a time where, people need support. And it's only for people's generosity and caring and lack of discrimination in other parts of the world that we get looked after when we need it to. Please think on the wider issues. I'm not trying to convince you which way to think, but let's not get so stuck into this politics of left and right that we don't actually understand the reality as well, that there's something that happens somewhere in between as well. On the issue of a TV licence, I've been watching Corrie and Emmerdale. Emmerdale isn't on until 8 p.m. There's an American TV show from the 80s on before that. Bradley Walsh and Tipping Point is on all day too. Why do we pay a TV licence for a very old programme? Is it not worth? It's not worth paying for. That's what a lot of people think, and that's why I suppose payments are down. Conformity is down. On post, we talked a little earlier on about stamps going up. I got a letter today posted the 12th of December in London. What's going on with Post? I got 5 other Christmas cards posted in Ireland. Can anyone explain? Well, it could be the UK post office as well. Who's to say? I don't know. But I'm not going to be able to get to the bottom of that one. Listen, thank you very much for all of your comments coming in today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. That's where we have to leave it for this Monday on the Greg Hughes Show. We'll be back to do it all again with you tomorrow morning from 9. Don't forget, if you missed anything, you can catch up on the podcast, which will be live on our website.